Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Aging and Spirituality, where we talk about how to have a more meaningful, fulfilling life after 60. So I want to ask you, are you ready to reinvent yourself? To live with greater purpose, passion, and peace? This topic today is about shifting from success to significance, the shift that changes everything in your life. So for most of our life, we chase success, career goals, financial security, status, achievements. But then something shifts. Maybe it's retirement, maybe it's a personal loss, a health scare, or simply just the wisdom that comes with time. But suddenly, the things that once felt so important start to feel a little hollow. That's when the real journey begins. The shift from success to significance, from doing to being, from acquiring to giving back. That's the big change. In this episode, we'll explore what that shift looks like, why it's so powerful, and how you can embrace it with clarity, courage, and purpose. Whether you're already on the path or just beginning to question what matters most, I think this episode is for you.
Me too.
So
It
let's
is for me. I'm already excited.
All right. So let's start with the significance between, I'm sorry, with the difference. See, I got significance on my brain.
Yeah.
The significance between the difference between success and significance.
Yeah.
Success is typically defined by external achievements and personal goals. It's about what you accomplish, things like career advancement, financial security, recognition, possessions, or status. It answers these questions. What have I done? What have I built? What have I earned? Significance, on the other hand, is defined by internal fulfillment, by lasting impact. It's about how you've contributed to the lives of others through kindness, wisdom, service, relationships, creativity, compassion. It answers,
That's big.
yeah,
Like you say that line like those are little things to do. Each one of those is so big.
each one is big. I'm just saying it's the shift from being, concerned about what have I built, what have I earned,
Yeah,
to
focus is different.
how can I be more kind? How can I give more? How can I improve relationships? How can I be more compassionate? It's that kind of shift. And the questions for significance are, and here comes that, who have I helped? What kind of legacy am I leaving? Have I made a difference in the lives of others around me? See, that's the difference. Not
Yeah.
what do I accomplish, but have I helped someone? Significance often emerges later in life when we start to value depth over speed, connection over competition, meaning over metrics. It's less about what you achieve and more about who you become and how you touch others. So, what propels this shift from success to significance? We spend a part of our early and middle years focused on success, and that's not a bad thing. It's often necessary. Success gives us structure, direction, something to work toward, helps us build a career, support a family, create identity. But somewhere along the way, often our 60s or later, that drive begins to calm down. It quiets down, and a different question starts to emerge. Is this it? Kind of gives me a shiver when I say that.
Scares me. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the moment the shift begins from chasing success to seeking significance. I'll tell you a funny story about my daughter. She's not our age, but nevertheless, she had this very active social life and did all of these things, and she's very successful in her career. And 5 or so years ago, she got together with the person that she married, and she has a child who's now 3, and she takes care of my ex, her dad, who has dementia and heart problems. And she said to me one day recently, which thrills my heart to hear, she said, all that stuff I was doing before, she said, I thought it was all so great, she said, but when I look at it now, it was shallow. She said, what I'm doing with Bo, her 3-year-old, and for my dad, that's so much more important than all that stuff.
Wow. She said that. That's awesome.
Yeah, it just gave me a shiver to hear it. And I thought, well, great if she's coming to it earlier because we often don't come to it till later. I'm sure, we all have stories like that. You may have a story you know.
Well, I have one actually, just something that I realized about how I've really operated my entire life. And I was thinking that I had made this shift, from the outgoing goals and stuff into the significance, but I still think I struggle and go in between the two worlds, and I was talking to somebody that I think has a real solid basis of peace, and she has faith, and she doesn't struggle with the outside things like I do. Like if I were to want to do something, right, and have a goal, I would still think about, well, how would I manifest that? How would I do that? Like I want my brain still wants to control that process. Like I could visualize, I could use my heart center, I could do all these things to bring this into my life, right? And I was comparing it to the way this other person operated, and I realized that she has no need to do that kind of control. And when you have the kind of significance that you're talking about, it's such a deep level of peace and faith that your desire doesn't go outside of
Mhm.
what is next for me to be. What is next for me to be,
Right,
right? That's
right,
really what you're talking about.
right, right, right.
Yeah, and that sounds so easy. Like, okay, well, just forget about the ideas of manifesting, or forget about you have to let go of all that struggle. Really? Okay, I'll try to do that. I've only been doing it my whole life, but I'll try to do that. Like that. I'm getting tired of all that nonsense. I get it. But it made such an impact on me. It was like, and then I was, ticked at myself. Like, you've been struggling with this stuff for your whole stinking life. Like, just let go of it. You don't have to try to control everything. You don't have to work to get everything into your life.
Yeah, yeah,
It's a
exactly.
real shift of consciousness.
Big shift of consciousness. It's a shift of consciousness of saying within yourself, what I need will come to me. You
Yes.
know,
Trusting, having faith that it will, and including the idea of what is it I'm supposed to do next? What am I, like what am I supposed to be focusing on?
and part of that is thinking with those questions that we just talked about, um,
Yeah.
who can I help? How can
Mhm.
I make a difference in the lives of someone? That kind of just asking those questions. How can this help someone? How can I be of service in this? And let that lead you.
Right.
I know it's not easy.
Well, it's a shift. I mean, for some people, it might be easy. I mean, there's lots of, people that find that simple somehow. For me, it's a huge shift in consciousness. Like it requires such a level of patience, and I'm just like one of these go-getter people, like just get her done.
Mhm. Mhm.
You can't really use that consciousness in what we're talking about. You have to be much more patient, much more open, much more receptive, and also just remembering to ask that question. What am I doing today? Let's not finish the day without helping somebody.
Mhm.
Let's not, like I really do want that to be part of my life. And how does that fit into, well, I still gotta pay the bills and I still got. So it's a journey from one way of operating system to another.
Mhm. Yeah, it is. It's a journey. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
it
for
is. You do take it step by step. And one of my points later on is go slow with the process. Just you don't have to leap in. It's the little things that start to happen one at a time.
Okay.
So we outgrow the metrics of success. In our younger years, we're wired culturally, biologically to build, achieve, compete. And success gives us a lot of things, the thrill of it, but then the thrill of achievement fades. The external rewards feel less satisfying. And we
Hmm.
realize that the accumulation of stuff doesn't equal fulfillment. And emotional growth, shifting here at a certain point, as we ask, is this all there is? There's this shift from ego to essence. You care less about what others think. That's a big thing. You feel less need to prove yourself. And your values evolve from ambition to authenticity. Like, who am I? And I want to express my authentic self.
Hey, hi, how do I do that? Yes.
Well, this shift often involves letting go of the ego's need to be important, embracing the desire to be mm, real, loving, and useful instead, and to stop striving and start trying to just be yourself.
Yeah.
Just be yourself. I mean, how many great artists do you hear when they say, the recording studio wanted me to do this or that? And even though they were going to get rid of me, I just had to be myself. I had to do what, and even though that seemed like it wasn't going to work, that's what made them a star,
Right.
for themselves. So it's that kind of thing. And then another thing that helps this shift to happen is the awareness of mortality. That brings clarity. Maybe we lose a loved one, we have a health challenge, retirement, a slower pace, more time to reflect. I know when I had the breast cancer 5 years ago, even though they told me it was really early and, it was going to be fine, all kinds of things crossed my mind, all kinds of things I was looking at. And I thought, I don't want to leave this body without these spiritual things that I want so much.
Right. Yeah.
Mhm.
So dope.
So these experiences, they bring a very sobering but liberating truth that life is finite, and that realization ignites a desire to use whatever time we have with intention.
Yeah.
Focus shifts from what can I get to what can I give. That's the big shift. The more we
And,
focus on what I can give, the more, not that you do it for this reason, but the more actually comes to you. Mhm.
and the difference is so stark in my mind when you say those two questions, because what can I get makes you separate. What can I give makes you connected.
Connected. That's right. Make sure
There.
connected to everyone. Yeah, that's it. That's it
It's
right there. Love it.
that connection that makes you real and authentic.
Yeah, it is.
This outside of the universe or the rest of the
Mhm.
world,
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
So
Exactly.
that's kind of the pole star, the focus. Keep it there. Keep it on what can I give?
Yeah, that's it. That's it right there. You nailed it. What can I get? Spiritual awakening. We start to seek meaning. Uh, Many people experience a deeper spiritual awakening as they age, not necessarily anything to do with religion, but just the spiritual awakening, a longing for peace, wholeness, connection, a sense that there's more to life, a desire to live in alignment with soul or spirit. And that leads to a yearning for service and wisdom sharing. The soul wants to get back, it wants to heal, it wants to love more deeply.
100%.
And those things take us to where we really need to be. And then relationships also take center stage here. As people age, they often realize relationships matter more than resumes. Time with loved ones is precious.
Mhm.
You know, you don't want to come to the end of some loved one's life and think, "Gosh, I wish I had spent more time with them."
I'm
Connect.
so that all the time.
Mm.
Really am.
I did with a lot of things. I was younger and pregnant when my mother passed, and but I often think, I wish that there had been a little bit more time. Mm,
Sure.
you know, but so that connection, that presence, that love, those are the real markers of a meaningful life. The heart takes the lead, and that's when significance becomes more important than success. When you let your heart take the lead.
Yeah.
I think it's something we can do if we think about that. And I think what you said, just the phrase, what can I give? That opens the heart. So making this shift it's less about a big leap, but more like a series of quiet, intentional changes in your mindset, your priorities, your daily actions. It's an inner realignment, achievement to meaning, from status to service, from again doing to being.
Right.
And here's some things, you can that begin to make the shift. First you can pause and reflect on what truly matters now. You can't move towards significance if you don't know what feels significant to you. So there's some questions you can ask yourself, like what brings me joy now, right now? Think about that. I'm just going to take a few seconds. Think about that. What gives you joy right now? That's a really good place to put your energy. What would I regret not doing? That's another big one. As people get older, they start regretting this and that. But think about if there's something that you know, you would regret not doing it, so do it. Where am I still clinging to outdated definitions? And give yourself a space to grieve what's ending and imagine what's possible. That's the thing. What's possible?
Those are really big questions.
Yeah, they are big questions. It's worth spending some time sitting with,
Yeah.
Like especially start with that one that brings me joy now and just sit with it for a minute. And sit with it for a few seconds here.
Yeah. Because when you know what the joy is, sorry, I didn't know if you're doing an exercise. When you know what your joy is, it's kind of like that's the direction it's pointing you to go in that direction where that excitement is.
Exactly. So that's the thing to think about, Yeah. Right there. And then the other two questions, but I would really work with that one because that's the one. And then you want to redefine your identity. Let go of who you were in order to become who you truly are. Many people's identity is wrapped up in a role that they played because it's what their parents, their peer group, society felt like they should be playing. Maybe it's not who they are. Significant asks, who am I without the title, the schedule, the status? Who am I? Begin to see yourself as a wisdom keeper, a guide, a mentor, a creator, a healer, those kind of things. Rooted in essence, not ego. Because we all have so much wisdom to share. Are we sharing it? It's about stepping into your soul's purpose, not society's purpose. What does my soul want?
Right.
That's the question to really sit with. What does my soul want? Just reflect on it. Spend some time. We're not going to spend a lot of time here now, but if you take some time, just reflect on that. What does my soul want? What's my soul's purpose? And, find then, once you start getting some clues about that, find where your gifts meet a need, maybe uh, your story, your skills, your heart meets someone else's need. Like your story about your near-death experience touches so many people. I mean, it's, and there's so much to share. And it's kind of, what have I lived through that somebody else could learn from? What do I love doing that could bring joy, comfort, and healing to others? You don't have to change the world. Just touch one life at a time. That's it. Your lived experience is a gift, and someone's waiting for it. Someone's waiting for it. So you want to choose impact over impression. Start showing up to serve, not to shine. That's it's a
I
big it's a big factor. I remember one time at a yoga retreat, and the yoga master was teaching, and he said, "Be part of the orchestra. Don't be the solo act." And that's really an important thing. You're just there to serve.
Mhm.
Mentor somebody younger, volunteer your time. Selfless service is a great step forward. Create something meaningful, art, music, writing. I mean, you're never too old to create something meaningful. I mean, how many successful writers have started in their 70s, 80s?
No.
My daughter graduated college. There was an 85-year-old woman who was on the stage, and she graduated with them. And the students all just went berserk cheering her. And she said she'd always wanted to get her college degree, and she was finally doing it.
That's the cutest thing ever.
It's so
Wow.
cute.
Yeah.
So success is applause, significance is light. It's light from the soul. So embrace slowness, simplicity, and soul work. Significance emerges in the in-between spaces. Slow down, say no to things that don't fit in. That's what I have to work with. You trying to still fit so many things in. Reconnect with nature, certainly with spirit, with family, creativity. Let your intuition and your values guide your days. Try to be really intuitive. It's not about doing more, it's about living deeper. A
Oh,
deeper,
like
yeah, live deeper, deeper from that place inside. In yoga, we know that everyone has this place inside that is pure peace and love and joy and power. And that's the place we want to come out.
yes.
So start small, but start now. You don't need a 5-year plan to begin your shift. You just need a willing heart. So write a letter of appreciation to someone.
Hmm.
That, that's a nice thing to do. Have a deep conversation with your grandchild. Mine's a little young, but
You can still have a deep conversation
well,
with
deep convers-
3-year-old.
I still have deep conversations with them. And,
Smart.
yeah, offer a helping hand to a neighbor. Take 15 minutes a day, maybe to meditate. Just give yourself that treat. There's a nice simple reflection you can do that helps to go from doing to being. And it's like taking a moment to go inward. And if you're in a quiet place, you might just close your eyes for a few breaths, let the noise of the world fall away, and bring your attention to the moment. And then think back to times in your life when you felt truly alive, truly connected. Maybe it wasn't your biggest achievement, maybe something smaller, a moment of love, a moment of laughter, a moment of stillness. Why don't we take like just a minute to do that right now? Let's just close our eyes and just kind of take a couple really deep breaths. And then just think back to a time when you felt truly alive, truly connected with others. Maybe it was a moment of love, a moment of laughter, a moment of stillness. Okay, so you get the idea. And that place, try to go from that place. Try to know that that's part of who you are, that authentic place inside. That feeling, that deep fulfillment feeling, that's a clue. It's a clue to a life of significance that's waiting for you.
Yeah, for me, it was moments of transcendence,
Hmm.
being in the teacher's presence and being able to transcend. That's what it took me to. Those are moments that you can't necessarily duplicate. I mean, they come and they go, and they're different all the time, but they change who you are. They change how you see yourself. They change your world.
Yep.
That and it never goes back. The elastic gets stretched and it doesn't come back. It's like
Changes you. It changes you.
changes who you are for sure.
It totally changes.
Those are the moments like when I look back on my life, I see it like a world map and I see like little lights just pop out. And there are all those moments of what a blessed life I've had in terms of being able to be in the presence of somebody who's done this work and mastered it and is able to help us,
Mhm.
transcend the places that we never would have been able to do on our own. So for me, that's what it's like when I reflect back.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
powerful life.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what for me too, my most, that truly alive feeling, you know, was just the experience of that purity.
Honor.
So that's a clue, folks. That's a clue to the life, to a real life of significance. It's waiting for you. You can take it a little step at a time, but as you open yourself up to it, there's a big change in life. It's a very fulfilling experience. And there's a really nice quote that I found, which was related to this. It was John Maxwell. And I don't know who he is, to tell you the truth. I just found this quote and I loved it. It says, "Success is when you add value to yourself. Significance is when you add value to others."
Oh, that's great. That's a great code. I haven't heard that one before.
No, I was looking for a quote about this to see if I could find something, and that popped
Yeah.
up, and I just thought, that sums up everything I wanted to share today.
Yeah.
So I hope you take this and work with it, and it's really helpful to you because we're all doing this now because we're at a point where we want more significance in our life. We want to go deeper. So
I do that every day if I could.
I know, I
I
know.
could figure out how to do that. I probably wouldn't get much else done in life, but yeah. Maybe I'm meant to go sit in a monastery somewhere and be a monk
I know.
and
That's what I.
transcend as much as possible.
You never know. You never know.
Yeah. Next life.
Maybe
Check
just
that out.
maybe finding the space in your life and day for more of that. Maybe that's where you start.
Yeah.
That's the start. So,
Yeah.
well,
Great talk.
hopefully this is helpful to all you guys. Please let us know. Come visit us on YouTube and like us, subscribe, and send us comments. We want to hear if this is helpful to you or if there's something that you'd like to hear us talk about, because we like to talk about our experiences and share our stories in the hopes that it will help others. That's
Yeah.
our
I
giving.
want to help you with your stories. So, yes, thank you. That was great talk, Chris. Appreciate it.
Thanks, folks.
See ya.